Hi, we're Denny and Lori here in North Fort Myers, Florida, and we just endured Hurricane Charley on August 13th, 2004. Unfortunately, when the storm approached, we were up in Iowa and we had no way of getting back, so we actually did no preparations for the storm as it was approaching. We arrived back in town on the 16th of August and had no idea what to expect. My husband is friends with the local fire department, which is just up the road, and them knowing that I had a broken foot at the time, they did tell us that they did come and clean the driveway so at least we could get the car in the driveway. As we approached the driveway, we had we have 5 acres here and the property is covered with oak trees. There were oak trees all over, still hanging over the driveway. We were able to get the car in. At this particular time, we were not living in the house yet. We were still 2 inspections from a CO, and we were actually living in our motorhome that was parked over in the corner of the property. We were unable to get a flight into Fort Myers, so we had flown into Miami and rented a car and drove over. And we got back here about 4 o'clock in the morning, and we decided that we would go in and sleep in the house the first night because the trees were down and we couldn't get to the motorhome. So the next morning we got up, we went over to the motorhome, and there was some debris laying on the ground, but the motorhome looked like it was completely intact until we opened the door and realized that it was very light inside. The wind had ripped the skylight off of the top, and for 4 or 5 days rain had poured in to the motorhome. Water was coming out the door. We had no power, no water, no telephone. So we took our blankets and we actually went up and stayed in the house. We waited for 2 or 3 days, and then we contacted the county building inspector to see if there was any way at all that they could get us temporary power because technically we were homeless. The county inspector came out and after looking at the house, told us that they would go ahead and give us a temporary electric power. And he turned around and went to drive out the driveway, got partway down the driveway, turned around and came back and said no, after going through the house, he could see what a fine job it was and how intact the house absolutely has no scratches whatsoever, that he would go ahead and give us a full CO on the house. We still didn't get power in the house until the 25th of August. On like the 27th of August, my husband did notice the steel walk door going out of the garage actually has a bend in it, that the pressure was so intense that there's actually a bend in the garage door. Yeah. After we got back and got settled in and started talking with the neighbors, we realized how fortunate we were, as we are basically one of the few houses around that had absolutely no damage. We were not even missing a piece of facial. We had no roofing loose. One of our neighbors told us that he actually had a wind monitor. We were about 10 miles from where the eye of the hurricane came in, and he said that he had wind measurements of 120 plus, gusts at 120 plus. The brush is still all over. We've been unable to get it all picked up at this point. Our thing is just trying to maintain, keep the driveway open, and real happy with the house. We've have no cracks. We actually have impact glass windows in all the windows except for one bathroom window, but we have no damage whatsoever. We're both very pleased with the house. 5 acres that we originally bought because it was covered with beautiful oak trees. Although the oak trees are thin, we've lost quite a few. We still have a beautiful home. The trees will grow back. Thank God nobody was hurt here.
We got another one on the way and we're staying.
And we have another storm approaching here within the next 24 hours and we're staying. Although it's been a couple years since we made the decision to build on this property, we're both very happy. We did a lot of research and we're very happy that we did choose the Value Build Ameripanel home. And
If
we
ever
both
did.
agreed that should we ever build another home, no matter where it would be, that this is the type of home that we'd build. We've had people from Colorado, from Iowa,
Michigan, New
and
York.
from Michigan and from New York that have been by at different stages when we were building the house, and everyone was impressed. But basically, we built the home with our children and with our grandchildren, and everybody's had a stake in it. Everybody's swung a hammer. Everybody's gotten blisters,
All had fun.
and we've all had fun.
And we're very fortunate to have a home. A lot of people right now don't.
And we're very fortunate to have a home because there are a lot of people in our area that have none. And if it hadn't been for this particular home,
We have a home either.
we wouldn't have a home either. Jan from Value Build called. He's the representative that we have worked with from the time that we had decided to build this home. He had called just a day or two after we got back, checking to make sure how we survived and how the house survived, and he was very, very pleased to hear that we absolutely had no damage whatsoever. The biggest problem that we had was trying to get through the county red tape, so should anyone else decide to build one here, they were very skeptical until they actually contacted the different manufacturers of the components of the house. After that, we had no problem whatsoever, so we basically have laid the groundwork for anyone else should they in this county decide to build. Through our experience, we found that our particular county is one of the toughest zoning counties. If you go one county north or one county south, you don't have the problems with the building and zoning that we had, but they seem to be extra tough here. But the house was built with the Miami-Dade hurricane standards for after Hurricane Andrew came through.
Very cool.
And I just can say that we're very, very pleased with how the house withstood
And very fortunate.
and very fortunate.